All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah double honors unto the apostles and elders of JMS Great Millstone, and a sincere Shalom to all you Akim bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. The article that you see is from startuphub.ai, right? And it's the article is on Neuralinks. It says DJ Sale on Brain AI race, right? And it's a race because, hey, as the scripture tells us, matter of fact, I didn't grab it, but I'll grab it now. Out of the book of Revelation 12. 1 second. This is Revelation 12. And I'll get the 12. It's like 12th verse. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. Right? So that's why it's a race, man. Every company is trying to get, their arm into the this market, right? They understand this big business because ultimately Esau and these top execs know that the system has to crash for the new system to be brought up, right? So this current age where you got cash is still king, which that's fading away to the point where it's now what cards. Hey, he's saying that's not invasive enough, right? And since it's not invasive enough, the only way for him to bring forth this next age or this next technological revolution is to crash this system. And that's why, hey, there's going to be, a hyper inflation, right? That's why it's going to be a famine. That's why it's going to be pestilence and all these different plagues or scourges ultimately engineered by Esau, but ultimately Yahweh Shema Shai, wants these to come upon the earth to bring forth judgment unto you people. Right? So let's get into the article. It says Neuralink co-founder DJ Sale discusses the race to connect brains and AI, highlighting patient stories and future tech-like visions and speech restoration. Right? It says in a recent fireside chat, DJ Sale, a co-founder of Neuralink, right, offered a glimpse into the company's ambitious mission to bridge the gap between human brains and artificial intelligence, or AI. It says the discussion hosted by AI Ascent touched upon the core technologies Neuralink is developing and the profound impact these advancements could have on the individuals facing severe neurological conditions. And that's how we get you, right? By saying, oh, well, we're doing this for the people, man. We're doing this for the individuals who have lost their senses, who are immobile, who need us, right? But the scriptures tell you, hey, that the devil is going to speak with a forked tongue, man. Right? When we go into the book of Isaiah, the 55th chapter, when we go into Sirach 12, Sirach 13, it all speaks about how this devil is forked tongue, man. Right? Never trust thine enemy. For as iron rusteth, so there's weakness, right? Sirach 13 goes into what? If he have need of thee, he will use thee and deceive thee. He will look upon thee and basically stab you in your back, man. Right? He wants you to trust in him. Right? He wants you to exalt him as a God upon the earth. Right? He wants you to need him, to say you can't live without him, so that what? You go into him for your life back. And that's why the scripture says, he that loseth his life shall, it's like I should say, he that, matter of fact, I just grab it. So he that loses life shall gain it. He that saveth his life shall lose it, right? He that saveth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall gain it eternal. Paraphrasing the precept, man. But this Isaiah 36:6, and it reads, lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, right? That staff is a support system, right? So you're trusting in that staff or that support system that's broken, right? Because whether it's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party that you trust in or that you vote upon, which are bringing these unrighteous decrees, left wing, right wing is the same bird, right? So you trusting in this system that Esau is controlling. Guess what? It says, whereon if a man lean, right? Here it is, you're confiding within it, right? And the scriptures tell you not to trust in man, right? It says it will go into his hand. The scriptures also say what? Confidence in an unfaithful man is like a broken tooth, right? It says, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. Now, when we read this in the NLT, it says on Egypt, if you lean on Egypt, right? In America, is known as spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Revelation 11:8 says, if you lean on Egypt, it will be like a reed that splinters beneath your weight and pierces your hand. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, is completely unreliable to the point where you'll be ultimately giving up your soul unto this devil, right? And that's why part of that merchandise in the book of Revelation 18 chapter is what? The souls of men, right? Because he wants you to trust to the point where he physically puts that device into you, that charagma, and guess what? Then you receive of that second death. Hey, but before you even get to that second death, the scripture speaks about that grievous sword. So let's get some more information on this, and then we'll tap into Revelation 13, 16, and some more precepts. We'll need this one here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So, oops. Well, my computer is tweaking. Says, come on, man. It wasn't doing this at all. Look, create AI girlfriend. This is what he is advertising and shit, man. Says connecting brains to AI, Neuralink vision. Says Sale elaborated on Neuralink's primary objectives, which revolve around creating advanced brain interfaces that can restore lost function and augment human capabilities. The conversation highlighted key areas of focus, including the concept of telepathy, right? And that's left hand, right? Because he'll send forth certain signals into that chip that's in the person's brain, and have them thinking that they can control something or try to link thoughts, right? As long as he has a joke send forth a certain signal to everybody or through a cell phone, and guess what? Then they hit forth that well, he wants the power. He wants the power to control the people like sheeple, right? Directly tapped into the mind, right? It says enabling individuals to communicate thoughts directly. If he's trying to power to enable individuals to communicate thoughts directly, that means what? He wants to know what those thoughts are. We've already done videos on articles basically saying that he's been able to send people dreams, right? And tap into people's dreams. So now he wants to tap into the thoughts that you have, right? Which is ultimately being omnipotent and omniscient. That's why 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, says what it says, man. It says, in digital device control, allowing paralyzed individuals to interact with computers and other devices using their minds, right? Which is pseudo miracles. Let's get into that. This is Revelation, the 13th chapter. And I'm going to jump down here. This is Revelation 13. Lord will this stuff. There we go. And I'll start here at 14. It says, and deceiving them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, right? The pseudo miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Right? And those miracles come in the form of technology, man. Right here it is when Yahweh Shai and the apostles were healing men and women, right? It said, by thy faith that has been made whole. They didn't have to go under the knife. They didn't have to take a medication, right? It wasn't no waiting period where you could only drink liquids for 24 hours. No, it was instant and they were whole, right? It didn't take, out of 20 people, 8 of them, their procedures were successful. No. People were being healed just by the shadow being casted on them from a man of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That woman was healed by just touching the hem of Yahushai's garment, right? He is saying, well, we can heal you. It's no guarantee, but you'll be able to play 2K, with your mind. You'll be able to play chess with your mind. You'll be able to text with your mind. Or we can give you, some of your mobility back. You got to wear this electronic suit though, but it's gonna connect to this, right? And your chip gonna have Wi-Fi on it, and it's gonna have 6G data. This is where we're at, man. Showing you that this is the end, right? It says, and deceiving them, right? Deception, because he's going to give forth all these incentives. Oh, your grandma walks, she has dementia. She has Alzheimer's. Does she get up in the middle of the day or the middle of the night, and unlock the door and leave the house? How many times have you had to look for her? Hey, well, if you chip her, hey, you'll always have her on this app and you'll know where she's at all times. Oh, your kid likes running away? Yeah, well, if you just put this chip in them, you'll know where they're at. And that's going to, seal the deal for certain individuals. Allow their favorite celebrity to host a concert and say, oh, the first 100 people that get this chip, get in. Niggas is going to be lined up. Or let E give free rent for 2 months, a month. People going to be right there. Right? But that's all through those deceptive means. Right? That's all them trusting in the shadow of Egypt, man. And that's why we have to disconnect. Hey, because those that don't have this mark, the CHIP, right, the MOTB, those that don't have it, right, when we deny this, guess what? We'll be ostracized from society. We won't be able to, go into the store and buy. We'll have to be pilgrims upon the earth. Hey, but the difference is that Yahweh Shema Shah is going to watch over us in all of this. Right? The scriptures clearly say he's not going to allow his men to starve. Hey, it actually says they'll have abundance. The scriptures clearly talk about miracles being done for the believers. Spiritual power being given unto those that have faith. Right? So it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And we see that through AI being pushed now. And now an electronic God has arisen, man. Right? It's no longer, a statue of clay or an idol of gold anymore. Now it's through a telephone screen. Now it's through a laptop. Now it's through a tablet. And you're able to get answers back immediately. Right? Hey, now you have articles on end time headlines speaking about AI is bringing back spirituality. Right? Which this has all been programmed by the demon himself, Esau Edom. So what correct answers could it be feeding you? But this is where people are looking to for help. Right? It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. The image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of they're speaking against AI or terrorism, right? All these unrighteous strip us of free the wayward and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Right? That's every great, rich and poor, free and bond. And their foreheads. Right? And that word there is charagma, a physical mark. Matter of fact, let's grab it. Charagma. G5480. Right? And it says what? It says a mark, a stamp, or imprinted mark. A mark branded upon horses. Right? The mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand. And it don't matter where you get it in your body. If you take it anywhere, the Lord is going to kill you. Right? As the badge of the followers of the anti-anointed, and it's many antichrist. Right? Many anti-anointed, man. Right? That's the root word, karax, which says sharpened to a point, which is the device used to administer the charagma. Right? A pale stake palisade, which we understand it says the idea of scratching or etching, which is going to be a syringe. The root word of this is grapho. The information stored within this device, right? The coding, the delineation, right? The variations of write or variations of writing, which are just codes, man. Algorithms of your information, whether it be your driver's license, or I should say, including your driver's license, including your bank account information, including your social security number. All your personal information is going to be on this, right? And it's going to be taking your biometrics at every BPM of your heart rate, man, right? So it's going to be a tracking device, all of that. So let's keep going. This is verse 17. It says, in that no man might buy or sell, right? Track transactions. Without you having this device, guess what? You won't be able to buy or sell. Hey, which is everything. If you can't buy or sell, you're ultimately left naked out here. But we won't be left naked, right? Because we'll have the covering of Yahweh Shema Shah upon us, right? Now you niggas who, are in these doctrines of men who are telling you these evil times aren't coming, or that the MOTB isn't the CHIP, hey, you gonna get it, man. You're gonna get it. The Lord has a judgment waiting for you. Hey, and if your teacher is teaching that, he has a harsher judgment coming for him. Right? It says, save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 which goes into chi, psi, stigma. Right? When we go into this word stigma, right? It says stigma. It says to prick, right? Which is done by what? The syringe. It says a mark pricked in or branded upon the body, showing you that it's an invasive procedure, much like the Neuralink, much like any other device Esau is trying to insert into the body, which is the MOTB. It says the ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belong to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token of their gods, right? Marked, incised, or punched for what? For recognition of ownership or a scar of service. So you taking the MOTB is ultimately you bowing down into Esau and claiming him to be your power. Now I want to go here because we always talk about the condemnation, right? So let's get this first in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter, right? But because before the thermonuclear destruction hits those that received this MOTB, we got to read this here. This Revelation 16:1. It says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and therefore fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. Right? So when we go here, it says a noisome and grievous sore. Oops, it's lucky. Noisome and grievous sore. That word noisome is G2556. And it says noisome, it says of a troublesome, injurious, pernicious, destructful, or baneful. So I can go look up this word baneful. It says baneful. It says baneful is an adjective describing something highly destructive, capable of causing serious injury or harm. It is often characterized things that cause long-term harm or distress, such as toxic habits or toxins in general, poisons, says, or disastrous policies. It says synonyms: pernicious, noxious, fatal, right? Baneful, harmful, and destructive. Because ultimately, this noisome or this grievous sore is going to be injurious unto one's body, right? Because the Lord is gonna, once those people get that CHIP in them, is going to be a physical sign showing that you bow down to Esau Edom, man. Right? So that's for the word noisome. Now let's grab grievous. It says grievous, ponaros, right? It says a wicked or evil. It says of a bad nature, condition, in an ethical sense, evil, wicked, or bad. Let me see. It says diseased, right? Derelict, grievous, harm, malicious, wickedness. Now, one thing I want to go into, because we understand that according to this grievous sore, it's a lot. Looked up the word noisome. I believe we looked up the word noisome. Oops. Oh, we didn't select it. Yeah, we did noisome and grievous. Now, the scriptures tell us, when we go here to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter, that the Lord will bring forth the plagues of Egypt as before, right? Because when you take a look at it, here, going back to Slacker. Oops. Come on, man. I'm gonna read this again real quick. It says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua upon the earth. Right? These vials are a metaphor for the Lord opening up those plagues, man. Right? For him bringing forth those scourges, right? Those judgments unto the individuals upon the earth. Right? It says, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast. Right, so those that bowed down, received of that mark, and have worshipped that image, hey, the Lord made sure that a physical plague, right, came upon them. Now, when we go into the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, and we go here, into the 11th verse, says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that the Lord is going to, bring forth 10 plagues like he did in the time of ancient Egypt. But we understand Egypt, or America is likened unto Egypt. When we go into the book of Revelation 11, it speaks about, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, right? Speaking of America. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with a plague and punishment that Yahweh shall bring upon it. Right? Those plagues, the Lord is still going to plague this place with famine, as when he did with Egypt. When you take a look at the 10 plagues, right? Those plagues affected, the supply chain of Egypt, right? When the blood was turned, or the water was turned into blood, hey, that affected the commerce as far as fishing. That affected the commerce as far as drinking water, right? When you take a look at frogs, when you take a look at locusts, all of those different plagues affected the Egyptians' markets, man. Right, so we understand the Lord is doing the same thing now with this engineered famine, basically killing all livestock, cloning meat, 3D printing meat. Right, these are some of the same plagues. They're just technologically advanced for this particular society. So when we go into the book of Exodus, the 9th chapter, right, speaking of the plagues of ancient Egypt, and we go down here into the plague of boils, Exodus 9 and 8. And it reads, and the Lord said unto Moses unto Aaron, take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon men and upon beasts throughout all the land of Egypt. Now, when we go back here in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter, and we go back into this word, right? Sore. When we go into sore, right? G1668 says Helkos, right? It says a wound producing a discharged pus, a sore, an ulcer, right? It says a wound, especially a supported wound. Now, it's like I didn't show it. This for the word sore, right? Now, when we go back into Exodus 9, and it speaks about what? That boil. Well, let's go into that word boil. H7822. What's that? Shaya'an. It says what? A boil, an inflamed spot eruption, right? Unused root, probably meaning burn, inflation, and what? An ulcer. So it speaks about ulcer in both Exodus the 9th chapter and Revelation the 16th chapter. Here, a sore or an ulcer. And I'm gonna go into an ulcer. All right, look up some images. Right, these are ulcers. Ulcers on the skin. I'll be specific. Right. Now it shows it, but these here I basically have to tap them so you can actually look into them. But these are ulcers, man. It eats away at the flesh. Right. We understand radiation. within the body already causes cancer, right? When it, for example, your cell phone in your pocket, it can give you testicular cancer. Esau has done, what you call it, um, experiments on that, right? He's dove deep into, how radiation has affected the body, right? Matter of fact, let's tap this one. Let's see. Woo! You can see that right there, right? So these are ulcers, man. They eat away at the flesh. So now you understand radiation causes cancer in pockets. So now you're putting that same type of radiation into the skin. You're also increasing what? You're increasing the radiation waves because this program or Esau's next technological revolution isn't going to be based off of 4G anymore. It's not going to be based off of 5G. It'll be 6G. So it'll be a stronger wave of radiation, right? It says a wound, a suppurated, it's like a suppurated room. Let's go into suppurated. It says suppurated wound is an infected injury or skin condition characterized by the formation of oozing pus. This thick, milky discharge, yellow, green, or white, is a mixture of white blood cells, dead cells, and bacteria. It typically requires medical attention. It sounds like a gangrene, right? That's what it sounds like. Look at some images. If you got a queasy stomach, don't look, man. Just listen. But I want to see this because this is what's about to happen to these people once they receive with this MOTB. Woo! That's through the foot. Damn. Yeah. Right. So this technology being within the body is going to cause harm, man. Yeah, it's gonna be all bad, and this wound is gonna be seen. There ain't no hiding this. It's gonna affect the whole body because once one part of your body is affected, it shows throughout other parts, right? So that says suppurated. Let's go back here. Right, that word was ulcer. Right, so I'm it's like Exodus. Let's go back. I'll read it again. Exodus 9. In 10, it says, and they took the ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil, breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beasts. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And we know that when the plague is sent from the Lord, man, he goes all out with it. He goes all out with it, man. 867 or 876 says blisters, boils, and inflammatory pustule as eruption. Ooh, so they was popping. And that was more than likely causing more sicknesses, meaning to belch forth. The belch is a burp, right? So they was popping in that disease, that pus was busting, man, right? So this is that grievous sore, the grievous sore. So just a plague as in the time of Egypt, right, that the scriptures speak about. Now, after, these people get these grievous sores, that's not the end, because now you got to be destroyed, right? So this Revelation 14, and let's get the judgment and now close out. This Revelation 14:9, and you see what it says, doom for worshipers of the beast. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, right, don't matter where you get in the body, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, right? That's the Lord's, anger. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So it's a death likened unto Sodom and Gomorrah, man. How he had fire and brimstone rain down unto them. Hey, well, this one is going to be done with thermonuclear destruction, right? The weapons of his indignation, which are the missiles, the ICBMs, and the nukes, man. Right? It says, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest, no day. It's like, and they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Hey, so that's a warning, man. You know, not to trust in this devil. If you gotta, die for Yahweh Shai, so be it, man. We understand the process of death. Hey, Yahweh Shai was raised up, and the scriptures clearly tell you that the dead in Yahweh Shai shall be arose, right? The dead in Yahweh Shai shall rise first. So, hey, this is what it is, man. You take up that MOTB, you're gonna get that grievous sword, and then the Lord is gonna destroy you. And I don't want to even imagine, you know, allowing fire to touch, open flesh, right? Hey, brothers, if you had some sort of scab or what you call it, a cut, and you get in the shower or have to take a bath, wash your hands, and that hot water getting that cut, hey, that's a different type of pain, man. Right? So now imagine fire. The Lord is literally gonna be cooking niggas, man. So hey, Lord, when this lesson was edifying into the body, quick lesson through the spirit. Oh snap, it was 31 minutes so far. So I guess it ain't that quick, but nevertheless, got all the meat off the bones. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying into the body. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to Yakin bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.